methods to music today. So I'm going to start off with an experience I had where I got this idea. I played violin in high school. I was in orchestra, and every single year we were required to compete in a competition called solo and ensemble. And the only way I can explain it is like, it is worse than American Idol. The judges are terrified. You spend practically the whole entire school year preparing a solo or a trio or some sort of musical piece, and it just, all so you can get insulted by some old crabby person. They insult you about everything, like right down to like how short your skirt is and your shoes. It happened to me one year. But anyways, one of the years in high school, I decided to play a violin solo, and it was a gypsy dance called Monty by a composer named Sardis. Now, it probably has no relevance to you, but it's better known as the introduction to Alejandro by Lady Gaga. And that made me realize just how much classical music is in all the music I listen to today, probably music you guys listen to today. So it really has paved the way for pop songs. So I'm going to talk to you guys about classically trained musicians. Some of these musicians actually may shock you. I'm going to give a little bit of Music Theory 101 so you guys understand where I'm coming from. And then I have some cool theories about why songs make you feel certain emotions, so sit tight. Alright, classically trained artists. We usually think of guys like Mozart, Beethoven, Bach, guys in wigs and tight pants who are all dead now, so why do they matter? But Lady Gaga, she was actually a piano prodigy. She studied classical piano since the age of 4. She went to Tisch School of the Arts in NYU for a few years before she became popular. Nicki Minaj, she went to LaGuardia High School in New York, which is an art high school, and she studied musical theater. And opera. Beyonce also studied opera singing techniques along with soul and R&B, and you can totally hear those influences. And their classical training is basically what makes them such great musicians, because they have a background in music theory. They can improvise on stage and connect with the audience better that way. So music theory. Most people consider it an ancient practice. It was created by those guys in wigs and tight pants, but it's still used in a lot of songs. And the biggest example of that is harmony. And the most simple definition of harmony is combined notes. And there are only so many notes in the musical alphabet, so that means there's only so many ways these notes can be combined. So there are certain harmonies that are continually repeated throughout history, and they're still repeated in songs today. And Canon in D by Pachelbel, we probably heard it while seeing a bride walk down the aisle or around Christmas time on the radio listening to Christmas music. The harmonies in Canon in D, if you speed up Canon in D, can be found in Skater Boy by Avril Lavigne. You can sing all the words to that. I've tried it before. And slow it back down, you can sing the words to Let It Be by the Beatles. So I find that really interesting. But no matter how well a song is written, if it doesn't make anybody feel anything, it's not a good song. So I want to talk about some songs that make you feel certain emotions, and there's some science behind that. Someone Like You by Adele. It is considered the ultimate heartbreak song. And why? Pretty much because of this little tiny note over here. Am I blocking anyone's view? Okay, that tiny note right there is called an appoggiatura. An appoggiatura means to lean in Italian. And that technique was used in a lot of requiems and funeral songs back in the day during the classical era, and it is still used today. And there's some science behind that, saying that that little dip in the note, that for maybe just a little millisecond, conjures up like tear-jerking emotions within a person. So now you know why Someone Like You makes you want to cry yourself to sleep every night. Call Me Maybe by Carly Rae Jepsen. It is a very catchy song. One of the reasons why is because the rhythm is staccato. and staccato means short. It's really short, it's really catchy, it's easy to get into your head. There's one main classical musical hook / melody in the song, and that technique has been used in classical music as well. Like a composer will write a song and be like, hey, this line sounds cool, I'm going to put it in the beginning of the song, middle of the song, end of the song, I'm going to repeat it until it gets stuck in someone's head. And then also the instrumentals to Call Me Maybe are synthesized, and that synthesized sound comes from an orchestra technique called pizzicato, which means to pluck. So plucking the strings, it's a really happy, short sound. It's used in operas, musicals to convey like a happier message, a happier tune. So that's why it's used. Hey, I just met you, this is crazy, but here's my number, so call me maybe. It's all stuck in your heads now. And I just thought that was funny, because you really can't listen to Call Me Maybe once, it's so catchy. But anyways, back to my story. So, since I knew that song that I was playing was in a Lady Gaga song, and by now I'm sure you all know how much I love Lady Gaga. So, at the end of my performance during solo and ensemble, I was like, you know what, I screwed up enough times, I'm going to take it as a complete joke. So at the end of it, I put my violin down and I was like, I know that we are young, and I know that you may love me, but I just can't be with you like this anymore, Alejandro. And my friend, she was with me for moral support, she just starts cracking up in the back of the room, and the judge looked at me with like the most serious face ever, and she said nothing about that. Nothing at all to me. She critiqued me on like my technique, my bowing, the way I sounded, and then I got my judgment sheet back a couple days later. I ended up making it to state and winning a gold medal for it, so I guess she really liked my interpretation of